we choose to fight it, we can pay more money. Or we can take the improvement and pay. So it's the same old game, we pay and pay. And which way our constituents want us to do it is really up to them, but they ask us to make the decisions. And I really don't want to get into a fighting match with the state of Illinois in dollars, legal dollars, over this intersection. Because quite frankly, even though I wouldn't benefit from it, because I make right turns out of that intersection all the time, because I'm going north. And when I'm making a left, I can usually live with it because I know what that corner is, and I make sure my stoplights, my rear tail lights are on before I make that turn over there by the Gibbons farm. So for me, it's a little consequence. But if you have people that live in Bull Valley that are making left turns to go to school in the morning or during rush hour in the evening, I think it'd be a great consequence. And it's my duty as a county board member to look out after the welfare of the general public. And when we have a highway project that could save some lives of children making left turns, and let's face it, at 16 when they get turned loose, they're not definitely the best drivers in the world, and they tend to cut you off, which I'm always watching for. This and the one immediately north, I believe that's Thompson, because when they intersected, they put the light on 120 in Thompson up by Wonder Lake. IDOT didn't know which intersection they were talking about for a while. They sounded like they were going to put the light over at Thompson on near this intersection. So I think that it's in the general welfare of the people, and I don't see that us fighting them on the finances to the benefit of my constituents. So I'll be in favor of this. Unfortunately, I think that we should have done a little better work, Joe, explain it. And I'm not picking you out on this, but I think that the general procedure for why these lights go in, it should have been covered earlier. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Mr. Provenzano.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Question for Joe. Was the design of this traffic light created by your engineering group?
No.
Or any engineers working for you?
No.
To the best of your knowledge, was it based on the proposed plans for Fleming Road? The design for the traffic light, was it?
It was an independent IDOT project. It has nothing to do with the design of Fleming Road.
You know, I was not on this county board nor on the transportation committee when this was originally approved. And as everyone knows, these projects are approved in multiple stages. This being one of the last stages of approval in the process. And so, as I asked those questions on committee and received answers, just because I pose the questions and try to find information doesn't mean that I am going to automatically render the project as a bad one. I decided to move this forward because I was confident in a few assumptions. One being that I am not an engineer, and to the best of my knowledge, we don't have traffic engineers on the county board at this time. At one point we might, but right now we don't. And so we make certain assumptions from the professionals that we work with, that the designs that they're coming up with have been thoroughly vetted. So when I ask questions about the curves and line of sight to a traffic light, those are questions of a layman and just curiosity at that particular point in time, only so that, like Ms. Salgado, we're better armed with information as we move forward in the process, and we know construction is coming, so that we can answer questions on the fly. So my vote to allow this to proceed to the full county board should not be a sign of capitulation. It's just part of the process, and I don't have any proof whatsoever that the Fleming Road project and the traffic light on 120 at Fleming Road are connected in any way, shape, or form other than the fact that they might be adjacent to each other. I I understand the sensitivity of the nature of Fleming Road. I think that I have had good conversations with a lot of the people in the Fleming Road Alliance. And it appears that when I agree with them, I'm a good guy. And when I may not agree with them, I don't know what I'm doing, I vote bad, and, you know, I'm a bad guy. So that's just something I'm gonna have to live with. And now let's talk about the intersection. I drive the intersection. I see it 3-4 times a day. I see it during rush hour in the morning. Luckily, I don't see it at rush hour in the evening, but I'm sure it's just as bad. I witnessed in the long line of cars waiting to turn left, all types of people, senior citizens, 17-year-old kids racing to school to beat the bell, and not having the skill sets that an experienced driver would have, trying to make that left turn. It's not a good situation. I don't have to be an engineer to know that something needs to be done there. Is it a football field entrance into that intersection, or is it two? I'm not an engineer, so I have to make certain assumptions based on the professionals that we've been working with, that is the right approach line. That there is no connection to, you know, let's start building the process all the way back to Southern Fleming Road. I don't see that connection. I appreciate the concerns. I can also add to the fact that it grieves the Department of Transportation at the state level to be spending a single dollar in Republican McHenry County. They don't like to do it, they hate to do it, and I'm sure that they wouldn't be spending the money here if it wasn't absolutely warranted. I've seen it, I've seen my son drive on this as a high school student, and I think it's warranted. So I will be supporting this, and I appreciate my colleague, Ms. Salgado, for saying it much more eloquently than I did. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Everett.
Thank you. Pardon me. I would just like to say that there's a great deal of concern at the meeting because of the lack of information. Here on the board, we're consistently bemoaning our status as a donor county, getting nothing back for what we put in. And here we find with zero information about the necessity of a traffic light that we're going to have to pay for. We all but grovel at the prospect of being thrown a bone that we don't even want. Consistently, we talk to reporters and constituents and talk about the necessity to curb spending and make sure that any expense that we incur is absolutely warranted and justified, and yet we go forward with a vote and have zero information about the necessity for this traffic light. I asked for, did anybody ask a question about how many fatalities have there been at this intersection? How many accidents have there been at this intersection? And nobody knew, nobody had any information. It's just, let's go forward and vote for it because, by God, they're going to give us a traffic light. Traffic light is not the issue per se. What we're looking at here is an expense that isn't justified as far as I can see. If we are looking at a needs basis, that we need a traffic light somewhere, I think we ought to look at the collisions at Queen Anne Road or Raffle Road a little more seriously, and maybe our position ought to be steering the state to where we actually need something, rather than where they throw a dart at a map and determine this would be kind of cute, we'll throw the bone and they'll have something. Let's get serious about this. You can't approve something if you don't know why it's